The idea came along with what Sion promised, not to let go of any seat.
Yes.
So we as cartoonists, we sat back and decided, how do we capture this? You can see it's mostly running in most dailies. It has been captured in most dailies today. So the idea came along. It's not easy to remove a boxer shorts. So you can see the challenge that will be there between Sion and the Labour Cabinet CS here.
All right. I think lots of this has been drawn by you, cartoonists, as you say. Let's see what Victor has drawn for us as well this morning. And this is what we have in the start today. So Sion refuses to resign and proves a hard nut to crack. Very daring there. Someone really going for the tenders of Sion. That is the government. Victor, you want to tell us how daring you had to be to draw this?
You put me on the spot with that cartoon. But I think it kind of says it all. He's been a trade unionist for quite a while now, and I think he's carried this over to his new role. So I think getting rid of him will not be as easy as some people think. So as the drawing itself suggests, they're going for a very sensitive area, but, well, he's a tough nut to crack.
Tough nut to crack.
Yeah.
So we'll see if the nut actually will crack, because he's refusing now to, change his stand as far as stepping down is concerned. But do you critique other cartoonist work as well? This is Tano and what he has drawn as well today, right? Do you normally look at, or you flip to other pages of other dailies to actually look at what is they have drawn? Let's hear from Maddo. Good morning.
Morning.
Yeah.
It's natural to do so. Admire and critique at the same time. We tend to see each other's probably shortcomings.
Yes.
Whether one is on point, a message is getting across. We see that. Probably just a little more than the general audience. Yeah.
Okay. Let's hear from Gammz as well. Do you?
Oh, yes. Thanks. I also agree. Actually, it's a subject in art to critique some our professional colleagues' works.
Yes.
It helps in building. And as you can see today, there is a tendency of cartoonists to think alike.
Yes.
Like you can see in today's editorials. Yeah.
So how does it work for you? Do you normally wait for, the news at night? Or maybe what is trending during the day? Or what is actually the major topic during the day? Not only just local, because I think we as Kenyans, we're always navel-gazing, looking at what is internally. We tend not to actually open our eyes and see what is happening around us, even looking at our news content as well. So how do you know what subject of the day and what cartoon will be there tomorrow, what you want to draw tomorrow? Is it coming out of your own inspiration or maybe the winds of the day? Let's hear from Munene.
It's always good to look at what our fellow cartoonists have done, because you can look maybe at another cartoonist idea, and then it gives you another idea on maybe on a different concept through his work. Coming on the issue of how we come up with the cartoon, it's always good to follow the current events, be it local, regionally, or internationally. There's no limit in doing editorial cartoons, and it doesn't have to be political. It can be sports, social, anything that is going. It's making the topic of the day. You are not limited to any subject.
You're not limited.
You can switch across any topic.
Any topic. So it doesn't have necessarily to be what is actually the main story of a day or the main subject of a day. You can choose to actually have your own agenda, Victor.
Yeah. Yes. What I like to call it is having your pulse, your hand on the pulse of the nation. What is important, what is relevant to your audience. I think that determines what, as a cartoonist, I usually want to draw. But again, I also like to draw people's attention to what's happening outside the country, because you can be too fixated with local politics to forget that we live in a global village, and what happens out there also affects what happens in our country. So yes, our reasons vary, but we want to draw what appeals and what is important to our readers. It's more about them than about us. Yes.
More about them and not about yourselves. Thank you very much. Of course, we shall be looking at this editorial cartoons, looking where we began this year, and of course where we are headed as we're winding up the year as well, and how pivotal also our editorial cartoonists are, especially in making us think, reflect where we're coming from their insights and what is happening in the country and what maybe we can foresee coming ahead as well. All right, we'll be giving you details of those developing stories later in the day as well. Right, back to the topic of the day here on the Leadership Forum, where we're turning our focus on our editorial cartoonists. We are celebrating them. And we do know that editorial cartooning is not a recent phenomenon. Evidence has been found suggesting that the cartoon has been part of the human experience for centuries. What is believed to be the oldest existing caricature was discovered recently in Egypt and dates from about 1360 BC. Since then, editorial cartoons have established a special place within society and have become an essential part of any country's culture, and the various types of cartoon subjects seen in a society reflect the values and beliefs common to the culture at that time. An editorial cartoon has a tripartite role. First, as a culture-creating, culture-maintaining, and of course, culture-identifying artifact. Cartoonists succeed in this tripartite role by emotionally detaching themselves from society, commenting on issues as if they were neither involved in nor affected by the highlighted topics. However, the effectiveness of a cartoon is limited by the reader's knowledge of the issues and context surrounding it. This means that the cartoonist must gauge the community's familiarity with the topic of the day and choose images to express her or his opinion succinctly and appropriately. In a deeply polarized environment, as is the case in this country, cartoons may be used as an extension of political ideology. However, even in such a scenario, they provide important information of the political landscape. The point of cartooning is not to challenge the status quo, though, but to reflect in visual or visual commentary on the social-political landscape around in a humorous, insightful, or pragmatic fashion. They are bookmarks that reveal important information about history and culture. And that's where we begin this morning. I have lots of the cartoons, of course, from the beginning of the year. And also towards the end as well, we'll just get a memory of how the political scene has been in the country, and also various issues that have affected the country and how they've been captured by our cartoonist as well. Allow me to introduce to you our panelists who are already here in the studio. Of course, you heard from them, but right now, of course, we're going to drill deeper and talk to them as well. We have Victor Ndula, who is editorial cartoonist with The Star. Also, we have Munene, who is an editorial cartoonist here at Nation Media Group with the Daily Nation. And of course, we do have with us as well Ngammau, who is an editorial cartoonist with The Standard, and also we have Paul Kelemba, who is Maddo, an editorial cartoonist also with The Standard. Again, good morning, gentlemen. Good morning.
Morning. Morning.
Cartoonists are this silent, huh? Or you've not taken your breakfast, right? There's plenty of tea. I can actually serve you. Yeah, you just ask for it, then I'll do that. Right?
You're capable of making noise.
You're capable of, but but you're remaining gangster this morning.
Right
why?
now it's like we are boxed in.
Why are you boxed in? Feel free. Let your creativity, the creativity, your creative juice flow, so that now we can have an easy time. Because I think that is where now, when you are excited, I don't know how you normally do it. Maybe you can just get a background, because we know I grew up looking at Maddo and his cartoons as well. It's been a permanent fixture, in our editorials as well. And the cartoons, as we've read, they have the power to make the society reflect of where they are, And some of the cartoons I know you've drawn have made people to deeply reflect as a nation, as a people, of the social norms. When we have the moral decadence in our society, we can always go back, and I normally do that. Every time I get a newspaper, I flip to page 14 of the Daily Nation, page 14 of the Standard, page 2 of the Star, of course, to try and see what are they saying, what has been captured by Gammz, by Maddo, by Munene, by Victor as well, Stano in the People Daily as well. Tell us. Let's begin with Maddo. Because I think you've been in this industry the longest time, you can have, or you do have that institutional memory, and the challenges that you've fought. Maybe with successive regimes that you've been drawing. The political seasons of those particular regimes. You can tell us some of the high and the lows of those moments. First of all, how did it begin for you?
Okay, I mean, as you say, I'm the mzee in the trade.
Yes.
It's been a long journey, really.
Yes.
Quite a long journey, full of excitement, challenges, and everything.
Yes.
Let me just clarify one thing very quickly.
Please.
My cartoons actually, my feature is composite. So it's made up of several little items.
So we see, as we see it here, yes.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, at that time I was featuring the retiring of the old railway line and the ushering in of the new SGR service.
Yes.
So as you can see, it's a full page made up of several items.
Yes.
Unlike one editorial cartoon where the artist deals with just one topic, then that's it. But however, I mean...
But you didn't begin here. Yeah.
Actually, I was an editorial cartoonist before.
You are an editorial cartoonist before.
Yeah, right
you
here
actually,
at Nation,
yes.
many years ago, and then the Standard, as it is. So it's been quite a long journey. There are others who preceded us. There was Terry Hurst. He's actually the one who ushered us into this kind of thing.
Yes.
In the 1970s. And also we are preceded by Franco Doi. Many young viewers might not really remember these two gentlemen, but they're the ones who actually opened up the route for us. So we call them the first generation, the first wave of editorial cartoonists in this country. But then it was quite a different matter. And then from what it is today, what you've just displayed by Munene, Victor and Gammz here is stuff that could not appear just barely 20 years ago. I was there and then, I know. I mean, I was part of the change at the time, the changeover from the rigid old times to what we see today. So, I mean, it thrills me, excites me. I mean, it makes me happy that I can see cartoons by these young artists here, well, younger than me at least, take on issues. Take on politicians, take on social issues, and so on. It's been quite a tremendous kind of change over time. But it did come with quite a cost, because we really worked together with civil society throughout the decade of the 1990s, and were bold editors at the time. Those who could stick out their necks and say, okay, we are going to run this kind of thing. That change has come. Due to there are also other forces outside what we do, because I mean the people outside there are clamoring for change and so on. So what we see today is actually a culmination of a very long, rough road to press freedoms and tolerance by the government about free speech and so on.
All right, tolerance by the government. You'll tell us more about some of the challenges, maybe also the calls that you got, threats that you got because of maybe a very ticklish editorial cartoon that you've drawn, and sometimes people tell you, oh yes, you need to withdraw that particular, of course, cartoon. But I think after it's been published, or maybe the editors are prevailing upon you, we cannot actually publish this, come up with another cartoon. Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah. What will be also some of the dilemmas that you will face? But you'll tell us more about that. Let's hear from Eric, Gammz, Eric Ngammau.
Okay, thanks, Debarl. For us, I belong to the third generation of cartoonists.
Yes.
From our senior, who had the second generation. We got into the field when the freedom was there. Like he said, there was a time former president, our second president, Moi, you could not draw Moi. Actually, he was the first cartoonist to depict Moi. So ours it's been pretty smooth. But we also have issues here and there. And ours is not more of political interference, it's more of editorial policy, businesses. We don't own these businesses, we are just cartoonists. There are some limits you can't go beyond, which of course limit our freedom.
How was it for you actually to put up what we can see there on air right now, Chebukati? That was a very sensitive time with the elections as well, one that was annulled. We had the 26 as well. He says, I stand my ground. And if you say he stands his ground, people are saying Chebukati has been a bit wishy-washy with his statements, also the forced relations that we had between the commissioners. themselves, not seeing eye to eye, a leaked memo and stuff like that. How then are you capturing this? Did you have a lot that you wanted to say, but you just saw, okay, I stand my ground. That one is a bit, not really polarizing, or it's a bit not really, out there, that will cause some people to be angered.
Actually, I was as disturbed as everyone when he said one thing today, the other day he says he was about to resign, then he comes and says he's now confident. When I said I stand his ground, you can look at where he's standing. Actually, he's not standing on any ground.
Actually, he's not standing, yeah? Look, let's just have a full view of that. Yeah, we can see there's a carpet there, but it's just his torso.
Yes.
Yeah, so he's standing on no ground at all.
Yes, yes.
Right? Yeah, maybe if you look at that, Munene, what would you say? Looking at, and I know we'll put up the pieces you've drawn about IBC as well, and Victor, much later. Yeah, what would you say about the whole scenario during the electioneering period, IBC, NASA and Jubilee? Yeah, what was going through your mind?
Well, I agree with the cartoon, because for us we try to make it as simple as possible. It's for the reader to just read in between the cartoon and analyze it. You don't have to explain it. I think cartoons are more than 1,000 words. And like Maddo said, he is in the second generation cartoonist. My friend Gammz is in that. I think now I'm in the fourth generation, maybe, or maybe the fifth. And I appreciate our mentors, guys like Terry Hurst, Frank Odoi. I was glad to meet them. And we as the young cartoonists, the editorial cartoonists now, we are happy for the space that guys like Maddo, Gaddo, Gammz, Kam, and Stano, we are enjoying what they fought for. Now we can do any cartoon on Moi or anybody, apart from criticizing their personal, maybe life.
So they laid the ground for you guys. It's become easier for you. You're not really afraid, aside maybe keeping within the bounds of the editorial policy of your media house. Then there's no so much confinement. You're not really encumbered by any forces.
Okay, apart from the media policies, editorial policies,
yes, we
have other areas that we can tackle and the others that we can make fun of. We'll come to that later. But on the ground that guys like Maddo set for us, we are glad to be enjoying the cartoons now that we do today. Yeah, we are really glad.
Victor.
Yes, let me first comment on the cartoon. Gammz, I think it was a brilliant cartoon. A good cartoon should speak to everybody and to every issue, and for the avoidance of doubt, it should be very clear that this is what the cartoonist is trying to say. But just going back to where I started, again, we owe a lot to the likes of Maddo, the late Frank Odoi, Terry Hurst, because then they were able to expand a space for us to be able to operate freely. But having said that, I think for the third or fourth or fifth generation of cartoonists, our responsibility is to make sure that space is not lost again. We have to maintain it, and if it's upon us, we need to expand it even further. So that's a big responsibility we have as cartoonists that come after Maddo and Gaddo and those guys who set the pace for us. But having said that also, we have to understand that it's a very critical art and there's a lot we need to do with it. And so this space should be protected at all costs because it didn't come easy, as Maddo rightfully put it.
Yes.
Yes.
All right. A very interesting editorial cartoon also we had, if maybe just put it up again so that we can comment on that. State commendation, that really drew a lot of flack over the weekend, not actually over the weekend, during the Jamhuri Day. State commendation, top state awards for Kenyans who have suffered their country with great distinction. And Victor, we're still on you. So we have people who are lined up there. Is that Team Afisi? So there is a Team Afisi that were awarded as well. We have the MPs that were awarded as well. And are they the Slay Queens following there, and the Vultures? Yeah. And also we do have the Gideriman. Yes. And that's, of course, he's been commended by the president. So this is how it went. Looking at this list that was drawn and has really drawn a lot of flack from every quarter of his country, people were saying there should be other people who should have been given this state commendation and honor, right? A case in point is that particular gentleman in Savo who every day goes to Savo to actually make sure that animals there, the wildlife, are given water because of the climate change that is affecting, also some of our forests, some of game parks as well. There is no water at all. But every day, he has taken upon himself to drive that water bowser to go and give water to the elephants, to the lions, to the buffaloes. Why was he not given a sporting chance also to be honored by, the president and commended for that particular gesture and the work that he's been doing? Do you think from that particular list that was gazetted, there was someone missing? Maddo?
Yeah,
or let's begin with Victor, because this is cartoon. Timothy, you tell us first of all, what came to mind?
One is my role as a cartoonist is to interrogate a lot of political and social issues. So when I do this cartoon, I wanted to put it to the reader to ask some very pertinent questions. Were the people on that list, was it meritocracy or was it somebody who knew somebody and suggested a name? If you ask me, I would have suggested my own list, and I'm not sucking up, but I think some of the people who gave us this freedom and this space and who have entertained us for a long time is somebody like Maddo. I think he should have been on that list because he's opened up a space that had not been there before. I also think of the teacher who was wading through water to get exam papers to the students. He should have been on that list. And it can be endless. I think there are people who would merit that commendation as opposed to the people who have. But that's my opinion. But going forward, I would now start looking at that commendation as a bit of a joke because the list, some of the people there were, I did not find them serious or worthy of that commendation. But again, like I said, our work is to give our opinion and let the reader make their own judgment and what they decide to think about it. Like I said, the jury is out there on who deserved to be on that list and who didn't deserve to be on that list. Yes.
All right, let's hear from Maddo. Maddo, I know you've won a lot of awards as far as your caricatures, editorial cartoons are concerned as well. Have you felt that, yes, the state maybe has not really supported your art? Maybe also the president, not only President Uhuru Kenyatta, but also the previous regimes that we had, Mwai Kibaki, Moi, they've not really acknowledged the place, or because now you're such a stern critic, maybe you don't really deserve a state commendation.
Exactly so. I mean, you say it. I mean, first of all, I'm not going to campaign for myself. Oh yes, I mean, the other awards that I've received just came as a surprise. Yes. I mean, that's it, and it lands. I'm not going to run after the HSC or anything else, but
the EBS as well.
Yes, all those things. What I think, in my view, really, I mean, this thing has been highly politicized, as it is. The president himself might not really be the one who sits down and comes up with a list. I mean, there are people that he does not know, but I believe that he does look at the final list. And even so, you might not really be sure about who's who. So obviously there's a committee that puts this together.
Yes.
And probably that's where the problem is, in that if I'm on the committee, I will put the interest of the state aside and look for a friend of mine. I mean, and I'm going to influence you're being awarded.
Yes.
This kind of thing and so on. So we do have a problem there, and I think in future we should really look at that because it was the list was ridiculous. Githeri man, for example, was a lucky guy. Yes. He was in the right spot at the right time.
At the right time.
I'm very sure so many people ate Githeri that day. Millions of them. I mean, we are talking about, was it about 9 million voters or something, 12 million, whatever. There are many people who carried snacks and so on. The photographer was in the right place, this guy was in the right place. Yes. And excuse me, we can actually celebrate the guy. To me, there's nothing absolutely wrong with that. We can celebrate the guy, let him do talk shows and so on. I think he wears nice stuff these days and so on. That is all right. But ahead of set commendation, definitely no.
Definitely no. Maybe we should see the list before we take a short break, or that particular editorial cartoon. We see how also it really reflects, you know, our perceptions as Kenyans. Who do we actually put up on the pedestal, right? If I may just put up the editorial cartoon. We can see first also the Githeri man has been celebrated there. And do you think the media also, we overplayed our hand in terms of actually giving Githeri man much preeminence, or much prominence, I should say, in our coverage as well? Did we miss it? Did we as media? People were saying, oh, with all the electioneering, actually, it was a fresh of breath there. We should have actually, you know, yeah, it was diffusing the tension that we had in the country as well. But look at the list and the people who are lined up. Team Mafisi, we saw an NGO, the NGO Mafisi, that was given also a certificate by the National NGO Board Council of Kenya, right? And they actually now a genuine NGO. So now also they get a state commendation. These are the people that are reflective of who we are as a society. Is that so? Gammz?
Cartoon.
No, thank you.
No, not necessarily, but actually it's absolutely captured. So we are not really confining ourselves to the cartoons that we've drawn. Yeah? You can weigh in on the cartoons as well. Yeah? Let's hear from Gammz briefly. Are this what we really reflect?
Okay, like Maddo rightfully said, Githeri man happened to be at the right, the right place at the right time.
Yes.
I also agree. We have heroes. Look at the ailing Joe Kadenge. I mean, everybody, almost everybody knows about him. Football, talking matters football.
Yes.
That list, you say, Maddo is saying the president might not be aware, but actually the list is compiled, I think, from office of the president and some committee.
Yes.
So like he said, he has the final say. I don't think the way he says that he might not be, he has the right to question who is this, and it was a letdown to me. It was a letdown. And the cartoon was apt.
All right. Yeah. So we celebrate Mafisi. I wanted you to weigh in on that. We celebrate also, let's just have it up, and we have also MPs and the Slay Queens and the Vultures. Munene.
Judging by the list in that cartoon, I think the committee that came up with the list, they judged on how somebody caught the society, not what they contributed. I don't see anything major by chewing Githeri on your voting. But then next time I'll also have a Githeri on my line as I go to vote. I might win the award. So I think the Githeri man was chewing himself all the way to the awards. He was chewing all the way to the awards.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I don't see anything major about chewing Githeri and then you win an award. So I blame the committee that came up with the list.
All right.
There are many people who have done extraordinary jobs to win awards. Some are not even recognized. There was a woman who even slaughtered a dog for the kids. That was painful. Githeri is just something you can, I don't see anything. But for what he has achieved up to now, it's not bad.
All right.
But for recognition on state commendation, I think the committee is to blame.
Yeah.
Of course, just very quickly.
Yeah.
We are bound to make mistakes all over the places, as individuals, society, or the government. So we hope maybe next year, the government and the various departments concerned with issuing out those awards will look at what occurred this year, what was the composition of that list, and look at who should receive those awards from next year. I mean, if it's repeated, then I think the government then would be spitting in our faces.
Even the public, and maybe you can have a vetting.
Yeah, vetting. Yeah.
We can have a public say on that, not just a committee to decide on who. Okay. You can get the view from the public.
Vote for.
Yeah.
Right.
An opinion poll maybe on the...
but finally, Debarl, just to add on to what you had asked earlier, about the media overplaying trivial issues, I think this is a case in point. I think there was more to the voting day than just an individual eating Githeri. And this hype was created for such a long time. And as cartoonists, we have this amazing space to bring, to highlight important issues. Personally, I refuse to do any cartoon on Githeri man because I don't think he merited even that space not because there's anything wrong with the gentleman, but what are we highlighting about the election? Is it an individual eating Githeri, or there are more other important issues that needed to be highlighted? So I personally refuse to do a cartoon on him. This is the only cartoon I've done on Githeri man.
Oh, this is the only cartoon?
Yes.
Right, right. And we know that editorial cartooning is not a recent phenomenon. Evidence has been found suggesting that cartoon has been part of the human experience for centuries. What is believed to be the oldest existing caricature was discovered recently in Egypt and dates from about 1360 BC. Since then, editorial cartoons have established a special place within society and have become an essential part of any country's culture, and the various types of cartoon subjects seen in a society reflect the values and beliefs common to the culture at that time. An editorial cartoon has a tripartite role as a culture creating, culture maintaining, culture identifying artifact. Cartoonists succeed in this tripartite role by emotionally detaching themselves from society, commenting on issues as if they were there, neither involved in nor affected by the highlighted topics. However, the effectiveness of a cartoon is limited by the reader's knowledge of the issues and context surrounding it. This means that the cartoonist must gauge the community's familiarity with the topic of the day and choose images to express her or his opinion succinctly and appropriately. In a deeply polarized environment, as is the case in this country, cartoons may be used as an extension of political ideology. However, even in such a scenario, they provide important information on the political landscape. The point of cartooning is not to challenge the status quo, though, but to reflect in visual commentary on the social political landscape around in a humorous, insightful, or pragmatic fashion. They are bookmarks that reveal important information about history and culture. And as I mentioned, I'm holding court this morning with Paul Kelemba, who is, of course, known as Maddo, and we have his cartoons. We've known him. He's laid the ground as far as commenting or the editorial caricatures are concerned. We have also with us Gammz, who is Ngammau, who is also an editorial cartoonist with the Standard. We have also Munene. Michael Munene is an editorial cartoonist with the Daily Nation. Also, we do have with us Victor Ndula, who is also the editorial cartoonist with the Star, but also is with the Standard. Gentlemen, let's continue with this particular discussion. And of course, I just attend a reminder that you can also call in. We'll give you a chance to just call in and celebrate our cartoonist here in the studio. Also, we'll be reading some of your tweets as well, much later in the course of the program. But we continue with the discussion apace. And Maddo, I just want us to pick on the piece that we had recently in the Standard. Looking at what we have right now on the smart screen, is all about the Lunatic Express. We had a standard gauge railway, and you've given us a history of where we are as well. If we may just put it up from the smart screen so that we can also continue with the discussion as we look at it as well. This is what you've drawn recently, and it says services dubbed SGR, or service dubbed SGR, the standard gauge railway, the new line, cheaper than buses, will bring back safety to intercity travel. All countries with functional economic, that is except where topography inhibits it, rely on rail to move people and goods. Bidding farewell, the Lunatic Express, 1896-2017, the famous Class 59, that is, we say, Garat Stream Loco. And people, they've been really criticizing this, and some hailing the SGR as well, saying, did we really have to come up with a standard gauge railway? Why didn't we use this Lunatic Express that we had? And what happens to those particular railway lines or that particular Lunatic Express that we had? And we went, and there's no discernible difference so much with the SGR as well. From your own estimation, knowing that you know the Lunatic Express and we have the standard gauge railway, do you think as a country we should have maybe used the Lunatic Express, expand it or redesign it so that, and it could have been cheaper for this country, as other economists have actually advanced that reason?
Well, first of all, I mean, cartoonists are naturally critics.
Yes.
I mean, if we want critics, then we don't have a job really. So we are not really in the business of praising, praising the good things that happen. But we can indeed mention them. In fact, in editorial cartoon, where the artist is dealing with artwork within one frame, it's very difficult to praise. I can afford to do so because I do carry out commentary also.
Yes.
I write some little comments here and there. And however, coming back to this, the time had come. The old line was too old. I mean, I've used it all my life.
Yes.
It used to take 13 to 14 hours between Nairobi and Mombasa. So time had come, you know, for that change. And a new line was pretty welcome. However, the problem was or has been,
yes,
obviously as it has been mentioned in quarters here and there, about the massive cost.
The massive cost.
Yeah, I mean that cost vis-a-vis the cost that we've seen in the region and elsewhere, and so on. I mean, this line obviously is faster, it's safer, and so on. But was it really the cost involved? That is, was it really? Is that cost really? Does it really reflect the work that occurred between Miritini, Mombasa, and Nairobi, the outskirts of Nairobi? I will not remember the figure, but I think it was heading towards 400 billion or something like that. And some quarters have raised issues about that. Probably we will have done the same job,
yes,
with 2/3 of the cost that is there. So it's not really in our place to go out and dig out where did the other money go, because we don't really have the evidence.
Yes.
But if it is so, if the cost soared way above what it's supposed to cost, then definitely there's a problem. In my piece here,
yes,
obviously there was the excitement of the changeover from the so-called lunatic line,
yes,
to the SGR line. So I mean, whereas I was not praising, I was just recognizing that milestone,
yes,
in our history of transport infrastructure.
And you show us as well that it began as Uganda Railway, the East African Railways, and then from from 1978, that is what we had. So we have as a Lunatic Express. So it began in 1978. 1878. 1898. Oh, okay. I can see.
Unless I made a mistake there, but it's 1898.
1898.
Yes, that's right.
Well, that's what I can see there. Then you said, did you know that that the Uganda railway line once passed outside Nairobi's Norfolk as well as Ainsworth's mansion on Museum Hill? Many Kenyans do not really know that.
No, they don't know that.
Yes.
Actually, even people in the 40s and 50s don't know that, or never saw that. But what occurred is actually the old line came and terminated at the present old railway station in Nairobi. Then from there, it actually used Uhuru Highway, which was then known as Princess Way, up the hill to past Ainsworth Hotel, which is no longer there, and past Norfolk Hotel. Actually, there was a stop at Norfolk Hotel where the Wazungus could hop off, you know, and straight into the hotel rooms. It was that exciting, actually. Then the train will chug up Chiromo, the Chiromo slope and so on.
Right.
It was eventually moved. It was eventually moved because of the population growth in Nairobi.
Okay. All right, then you say we will miss the third-class bar. Various Kenyans, communities and culture converged here for animated talk and debate at the end of the train, where the braking vans was located, was a police cell, right? Who are you calling? This is what we call a line?
Uneducated.
Uneducated, I can see, yeah.
It was
close on my eyes.
as I said, I experienced this train,
yes,
in person, first class, second class, and third class, as they were known at the time.
Thank you.
So in the third class, there was actually a lot of animated talk in the bar.
In the bar.
Very, very interesting.
Fantastic. We have Cheriot hanging on the line just to celebrate our cartoonist this morning. Hello, good morning, Cheriot. Hello, you on the line? Cheriot from Nairobi. Hello, good morning. All right, Muruli on the line. Good morning, Muruli.
Good morning. How are you, Debarl?
Very well, thank you. You have a congratulatory message for a cartoonist this morning.
You're right.
Yes, please. Go full slam.
First, I want to congratulate those gentlemen.
Yes.
Because whatever they are doing is fantastic.
Yes.
Bringing the sense into people through those diagrams.
Yes.
My request is it possible for us sometimes to get those cartoons in terms of downloading or something to do that. For example, that cartoon that says, "This man, Maraga," that is so nice. I would like to have it for my grandchildren to have it in future.
That is Victor's VicNdula cartoons, VicNdula's cartoon. Yeah, yes.
This man, Maraga.
This man, Maraga.
Yes.
Yeah, maybe. Okay, Victor will tell us more about that.
So nice for archives.
For your archives.
Yes.
Okay,
And remembrance.
fantastic, fantastic. Do we have a chariot back, right?
That's the one.
All right. Any other caller hanging on the line? Right, we'll get more calls from them. And Victor, the Maraga the man, that you actually pictured there as a Superman by then. And also the hard work that you put into this. People say, yes, can they download or will it come at a fee?
Well, that is, it really depends. It varies from artist to artist.
Yes.
There are those who are willing to give us the artwork for scholarly purposes,
Yes.
which is usually for free. There are those who, when they give it out, if there's any money to be made out of that cartoon, then they would want some of the money plowed back to the artist. So it is usually an individual arrangement,
Yes.
and it varies from artist to artist. Sometimes it's a very slippery gray area, but it's good when somebody actually asks for it as opposed to just taking it. So I must commend Muruli for actually asking for it, because the other people just take artwork and they don't either recognize the artist,
Yes.
or they just think it is free artwork to be picked. So yeah, on a one-to-one arrangement that can be discussed, but artwork normally is given out on an agreement or something like that. Yes.
Okay, fantastic. We have this particular editorial cartoon also by Gammz. Let's see, politicians, and I want you to weigh in as well. Politicians are on integrity, issues of integrity. And you say, this, you draw it from the Bible, where Jesus was saying it is easier for a man to, how did that verse go? I can't remember my piece of the Bible. For it is easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than a man to do that, right? I'm just paraphrasing. So also you draw your inspiration from the Bible. And of course, this is depicting on the politicians and integrity in this country.
Okay, yeah. Of course, we draw inspiration from many our surroundings, Bible. We are also religious. That integrity, of course, it's self-explanatory. Everybody can see. You know, we are, as cartoonists, we are watchdogs. We simply criticize, not criticize, counter-check the government.
Yes.
We are like he said, we don't wake up every morning to try and hurt or offend people, or it's in our nature of work to see the badness of something rather than the good side of it. Yeah.
All right. Let's say from Munene, integrity and politicians.
Like in many of our cartoons, we don't get on a personal level. We normally criticize your policies and maybe the promises that you did. So like in this cartoon by Gammz, it's very self-explanatory. You can see it's very hard for a politician to pass through the integrity test. As we have seen them in the recent news, some are corrupt, some have maybe gone to rallies, they've said this and this, and then they come in the cameras and they deny saying that. So for us, we are just watchdogs, and we'll keep check on them. Whatever you say, it will be captured.
All right, let's hear from Victor. Integrity test, and I know you also have drawn a lot, and Munene has drawn a lot on that as well. I'll try and upload one as far as integrity is concerned. But let's hear from you.
Yeah, on integrity, I think sometimes as a country we suffer from what I call collective amnesia. We forget very fast who are the people that we put into office. And I think the critical role of cartoonists is to always remind people that interrogate your leadership, ask questions about them. This cartoon is very apt because it's describing a similar situation. And I think our role is every time we get that opportunities to call people and ask, who is this person you're voting for? What are his credentials? What is his background? What is his past? Because that person is there to represent you. And if they have questionable past or credentials, then it also reflects on the service delivery. So yes, our role is very critical. And I think that's what we need to do every morning, to ask that question and to engage the reader in that sense, that ask those questions, and if our cartoons prompt them to do that, then yes, you've succeeded for the day. Yeah.
All right, Munene done also something about the social media, but yeah, we'll continue with that. We have a caller hanging on the line. Good morning. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning. Paul.
Hi, good morning.
Morning to you. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Yes, you have a question or a contribution? Or a...
Yes,
Please, go full steam ahead. Yeah, Paul, I will kindly also ask you to just turn down on the volume on your television. Don't listen through the television so that we can actually get you directly without you going through the television. Paul?
So this is Paul from Nakuru.
Yes, please.
First is to appreciate the guys on the bench today.
Yes.
And want to make a comment that other than criticizing, I think they should also give the positive part of the image, because we actually look at those cartoons and we create perceptions and impressions to the society. In particular, just looking at the SGR versus the Lunatic one, I think there is so much historical information which some of us, like he said, are at our 40s,
yes,
do not know. But in this cartoon, he's actually explaining what exactly happened between 1896 and 2017. The positive part about what these gentlemen are doing to the society is it's a captivating sort of information, which most of the guys who might not have time to read the entire newspaper,
yes,
they would actually look at the cartoon and say, look at what the Maddo or Maddo is doing today. So well done, guys. Keep on doing what you're doing. Don't only criticize, give also the positive side of all the things.
Right, thank you very much, Paul from Nakuru. We have Walaba also from Kibabi. Walaba, good morning, Walaba.
Good morning, Debarl.
Morning to you. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Yes, a question, contribution, a comment for our panelists?
Just a comment. I really appreciate what Maddo and others are doing.
Yes.
They are making a point. But we get proper information, because when you see those cartoons, and then you see what's happening, topical issues, then they make us really understand the reality on the ground.
Yes.
Especially those people who are actually not educated, who can be able to read very well.
Yes.
But when you just look at them, it becomes comical. You're happy, but the point is also hammered. We get a point. Then too,
yes,
I just want to point out what happens. Sometimes you can do a cartoon.
Yes.
And then it appears as a veiled defamation, where somebody can take it to court and say, this one appears to me. I don't know how our cartoonists find it. Have they been taken to court or issues of that kind, on issues of litigation? Have
yes,
you had a problem of that nature?
Yeah, we'll
really appreciate what they're doing.
Thank you, Walaba.
Thank you.
We have Muizi as well. Muizi, that's Muizi from Nairobi as well.
Hello.
Yeah, Muizi, how are you?
I'm fine, Debarl. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you.
My name is Major Mweze Peter Sami.
Yes, Major.
From Rongai.
Yes, please.
Debarl, let me thank you, those cartoonists.
Yes.
Apart from entertaining.
Yes.
And bringing us a lot of good things that we don't know through cartoon. Debarl, those are our heroes and heroines.
Yes.
And let me encourage them, although they have been doing it, to bring us cartoons which are basically of peace,
yes,
corruption, which is a very big problem in our country. And of course now, during these festivities, we have a lot of traffic accidents, which is as a result of police corruption and other factors on our roads,
yes,
and the carelessness of our drivers. And I'm putting a request, if there's any government official who is listening,
yes,
to recognize our cartoonists in these presidential awards.
Yes.
Because they have done a very good work over the years. And the other thing, Debarl,
yes, sir,
to make some forums, discussions, so that they can encourage young, potential, talented cartoonists just to have employment, because I think this is also an industry where we can try to elevate the unemployment problem. And lastly, Debarl,
yes,
I'm a Jambwezi, and I've always been looking for you. Let me use this time
yes,
to request you personally,
yes, sir,
to also invite me in your conversations, because I can offer something in your conversations. And I thank you, those gentlemen, and I'm also asking those gentlemen also to bring a good cartoon for Debarl, Kina, those who also announced for us, because you're also doing a good thing and nobody's appreciating you.
Oh,
Thank you so much,
you.
Debarl.
They've heard, so they should actually give me my portrait and caricature. I appreciate you, Major Mwenzi. Thank you very much. And of course, we'll be taking more of your calls as well. And I'll just read from social media as well. We have James Kinyua Jackie saying, let me just get away from the politics. Yeah, this is true. They should first ask Governor Waititu to resign, as he is not a Kiambu lousy piece of legislation. I think this was earlier with the news that we carried. This is what now people are saying, that we made Githeriman photos trend. Now we are mad he is being recognized. We are the people who made Githeriman. Now that he's being now acknowledged by the state commendation, people now are mad on that as well. Yes, and you have mentioned it, he was a lucky guy. Not everyone will fall on the lack of others. I will try and upload some of them that are really apropos with our discussion as well this morning. But those are the comments that you have on social media. And I will want the gentleman to respond to them before we continue with other cartoons as well, looking at the social media, what Munene had drawn as well. First, there's that issue that Paul had raised, defamation. Yeah, sometimes that's a big challenge. You draw a person, he's really mad about it. He says he'll sue, you called, you threatened. How have you been able to navigate this? And when you draw, do you also acknowledge the fact that, yes, lawsuits are there, that you can actually defame someone's a character? Then how do you, are you covered also by your various media houses? So are you, maybe, is there a clause in a contract that, yes, in case that I'm actually taken to court for actually defamation, then the company will cover, the legal cost of that particular cartoon? Anyone of you can pick up on this. Yeah, Maddo. Okay, have you first of all been on that particular hot
yes,
water?
Many of them,
yes.
Yeah, I last testified in court last week.
Last week?
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the plaintiff shall remain a mystery for now.
Okay.
Yes, yeah.
I understand.
Well, a media house is an entity, and within it, several components. Ourselves.
Yes.
I mean, you, everybody else, editors, even the owners, and so on. Mm-hmm. So, when you take on a media house, you may not really be taking on an individual as such.
Yes.
In fact, most times one is cautioned that you have to be absolutely sure that you want to take a media house to court, because if you lose, it's painfully expensive, and it has occurred before.
Yes.
Yes, yeah. But we also lose, as it is, and we've paid out some little money here and there.
But how are you insulated on that?
Yes.
Does the company cover for you, or you'll just
this is what I'm saying.
Yes.
That as an entity, we are within it. Now, what occurs is that when somebody raises a complaint of some sort, a legal complaint,
yes,
then the media house is the first respondent. And the reporter, the photographer, the cartoonist, feature writer, analyst, and so on, becomes the second respondent. Mm-hmm. So those are the two principal ones. Sometimes there are 3, 4, and even more than that.
Yes.
That is what goes to court. Mm-hmm. The media house shall respond.
Shall respond.
Yeah, to the complainant. Mm-hmm. And whoever came up, whoever sourced that story, mm-hmm, is also expected to be in court. A long time ago, that was not there in our legal, whatever, what do you call it? In our legal setup,
yes,
where it's only the media house that got the roasting. Mm-hmm. Today, we, the components, as I've referred to them, are also prone to direct action, mm-hmm, as a second respondent in this case. Mm-hmm. Now there are various levels of what occurs when people take us to court. Obviously, there's defamation, there's innuendo, there's public slander, there's and so on. There's quite a bit of them. There's libel. When one sues, it's in one of those 4 or 5 kind of various actionable items that one can take to court. And as I said, sometimes it's very dangerous. So anyway, we as professionals of many years in this industry, we also know that we are capped somewhere by the laws of this country.
Yes.
Yeah, we cannot go beyond. I mean, there's a ceiling. We cannot go beyond certain areas. I mean, there's no way I'm going to use what I have, the platform that I have, with absolute malice. You know, that there's somebody, an individual that I know, or a company that I know that I don't like personally for some reason, then I shall use my platform to kind of, you know, smear them, to slander them. Yeah, I mean, it may become obvious and so on. So we do avoid that. We are very what do you call it? Very prudent, very cautious,
yes,
as it goes. But then again, it is a job of the editor. That's why we have editors. The editors got the final say. I mean, one may actually probably kind of not really think out the consequences, yes, of what one is putting on paper. And if it slips past the editor, yes, then there's that danger of a lawsuit coming up.
Yeah, so do you have that particular conversation maybe with the editor, that yes, maybe this will be the editorial piece, and that should go in tandem also with the editorial cartoon? Or how does it work? Because we can find maybe there is an editorial piece, and then we have also the given column there just beneath the cartoon. It has this particular story that you can see that the cartoon also is related to that. So the entire editorial page, is it maybe a communication that goes around, you know, there's an interface between you, the cartoonist, the editor of the day, and also the columnist maybe of that particular editorial page? Gammz, very briefly, and also we can hear from Munene. Well, okay, let's hear from Munene. He's been fairly quiet. Yeah.
All I can say is we are normally given that space to be creative the way we want.
Yes.
But whatever you do, the cartoon that you do, you are not guaranteed that it will run. Some of them don't even run, because the editors have the final say. And then again, you can do a cartoon, and then the way you present it, an editor can come and maybe say, change this, add this, yeah. Because whenever it's published and we get sued, they also get to answer maybe for what happened. But it's very hard, because whatever that goes in the editorial page, an editor must have an input. That's why they go through the cartoons, and they can say no to one, and maybe they take to the other one. And then as a cartoonist, you can be called anytime to change something or to add something on the cartoon. Yeah. So we are all open to that, and then we have the speed to do it, and we work with the deadlines. Yeah.
Okay, so and let's hear from Gammz.
Just to add on that, we are independent. A cartoonist, it's my opinion, so you don't have to be told by the editor what to do. But in most cases, you'll find a coincidence. You do a cartoon and they're writing the same something on that subject. It's just purely coincidence. Once you are told to, if you are told to do, then it becomes an illustration. It's not an editorial cartoon. Yeah, there is an illustration for a story. Yeah, we are not told what to do.
All right. Before we take some calls, let's just also weigh in on this. Of course, we know what happened to Mugabe. This is what Munene had drawn, and we can see that particular, how do you call this, the bulldozer? Okay, for them that are in construction, huh?
Wrecking ball.
Oh, wrecking ball, thank you. Yeah, we can see the wrecking ball now has actually wrecked Mugabe, is going to Museveni, Bashir is down there as well, and we have other dictators, so to speak, right? This is in light of what was happening in Zimbabwe as well, right? So do you think also the fall of Mugabe?
You know, the way we view Mugabe maybe in Africa,
yes,
is like the godfather of dictatorship. So for us as a cartoonist, seeing him fall, it came to every cartoonist's mind that maybe we'll see some, maybe the same thing happening to the other dictators that we see around. So that's why I came up with the same, it's like a statue, maybe the downfall of the African dictators.
So the wreck ball is actually the democracy.
Exactly.
Fantastic. Yeah. All right, we have callers hanging on the line. Let's take more callers. And first up, we have Collins from Kikuyu. Good morning, Collins. Good morning, Collins. Hello. Hello, good morning, Collins. All right, let's talk to Nehemiah, who's hanging on the line. Good morning, Nehemiah.
Yeah, good morning.
Morning to you. You have a question or contribution for?
Yeah.
Yes.
I have first one question
Yes, yes.
and then a recommendation.
Yes, please.
First of all, I want to commend you for playing that program on TV to watch.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, only that I want to comment about the cartoon.
Yes, please.
They are really doing a good work. And I want to appreciate you, first of all, for playing them on the screen so that we can see them live.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, only to the government, I want to substitute what they did. Yeah, because I didn't know which criteria they used to recommend those people who plot Kenya to that extent.
Yes.
Yeah, because someone like Matiang did Kenyans to be recognized in the world because years back we had some cheating of exams, but from that man,
yes,
he made Kenya to be Kenya, but I don't think he was recognized that Jamule. Yeah, for the tell money, I think to that extent they did as much as they can.
Yes. Right.
Yeah.
Thank you, Nehemiah from Nyamira. Another caller hanging. Emmanuel from Nairobi. Good morning, Emmanuel.
Good morning.
Morning, Emmanuel.
Yeah, first of all, I want to appreciate so much what you've done.
Yes.
Yeah, because for a long time, artists were not taken seriously.
Yes.
And apart from the cartoonists doing just editorial work, they've also done a lot to give voices to other artists, including refugee camps.
Yes.
I've worked very closely with Maddo,
Okay.
Frank Odoi.
Yes.
For a long time, we've gone to refugee camps in the Dab and Kakuma. And now I'm working very closely with VicNdula.
Yes.
On a program that we call Artists for Refugees.
Oh,
so they don't just draw, but they also empower other artists and try to create awareness on people who don't have voices, people who people don't know even exist.
Yes.
So I just want to take this opportunity to thank them so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Emmanuel from Nairobi. And of course, we'll take some more as well as we are about to wind the program. And maybe just to, there's a lot of salutary comments coming from our callers this morning, thanking you for the good work that you're doing. And we'll just want to know, yes, aside from the editorial cartoons that you do with the publications that we have with the media houses, I think this has opened other avenues for you as well. And even many viewers who are watching you this morning, that will be a good also opportunity for you to, showcase and talk and maybe put faces to the cartoons that you normally draw. So who is Maddo? We see your work. We've never known you. We see Gammz. We see your work. We've never known you. But today at least we can see Munene. We see your work, but we've never known you. And Victor as well. How has the pieces itself opened doors for you? Because even the good book says that, your talent will bring you before kings. Yeah. So how has it opened avenues for you elsewhere? To be appreciated, to work with other NGOs, maybe to do caricatures and to do also animations as well, right? Let's say from Gammz, or let's say from Victor.
Okay, thank you, Debarl. You see, the very nature of cartoons is that it's a controversial art. And many times people think that that is the only way that we can apply cartoons. But it has varied applications. There are times that you can use cartoons to champion for social issues.
Yes.
I know Emmanuel was mentioning Artists for Refugees, which is an initiative where we train refugee artists and share our skill and talent with them. And this art brings to them hope. It makes them human again. And we've also been fortunate to meet some cartoonists from the refugee camps who've never had a platform that they could be having right now. So, yes, our work goes just beyond the politics. Actually, sometimes it can get rather depressing to work on politics every time. You can be able to tackle social issues. You can be able to champion social issues, issues of refugees, gender issues, just through your cartoons. I've worked on comics before, championing some of these issues. We've held exhibition as a group together, climate change. So yes, the applications are varied, and people sometimes tend to relate more to cartoons because they are not rigid, they are fun, and they're interesting to look at. So they are a good vehicle for championing some of the issues that would be swept under the carpet on a regular day. Yes.
All right, thank you. And of course, I've known now from Emmanuel, where you don't normally send me the cartoons on time as well, and I keep harassing you. Hey, where are the cartoons as well? Right? Let's talk to Gammz. The issue of writers, they normally have a writer's block. And you have a lot of content around you sometimes. But do you sometimes sift through the content, or you wonder, hey, what do I draw today? Maybe it's the editor is on your case. Where is it? And you're wondering, oh, truly now, is it a cartoonist block? Should I call it that? Yeah. Do you experience some of these challenges?
Of course it happens. Sometimes you wake up, you try to get ideas, they don't come along. And the deadline is there, the approaching, the editor is on your case. But somehow we do get our way out. For a long time, Maddo has been in the field. You know, we have, in the newsroom, we are just, the title cartoonist is just a cartoonist. There's not that respect that we ought to command.
Yes.
Because there is a lot we put into our work.
Yes.
We just don't draw. What you see there as the final cartoon, there is thought, we think, we do research. In fact, for him, the composite kind of thing.
Yes.
It's you don't just wake up one day and you scribble for just to fill the page.
Yes.
You do research. We sit down, we do research, we analyze events before we come up. We do sketches, they are rejected, you come up with so many others. So it's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work.
Yeah.
So you experience these challenges as well.
Yes.
Let's look at one of your cartoons. When was the last time you took a test? This was some of the social issues that we're talking about.
Yes.
That sometimes we are apolitical. We don't necessarily talk about politics, because I think we've inundated this country with too much politics. All right, that if we don't have a piece on politics, then that is not a good cartoon. But social issue like that of advocating for tests, HIV and AIDS test. When was the last time you took a test? Maybe a boy is asking a girl there, this morning, I am so happy that I'm not pregnant. That is what really, so many people fear pregnancy than HIV and AIDS. I mean, that is what you try to portray as well.
Yeah.
So in terms of driving also societal norms and trying to keep the moral decadence at bay, you are the conscious. Sometimes you see this, leaders are failing us when it comes to issues of morality. We have leaders who they're being accused. Look around the world right now. It is the issue of sexual impropriety. Yeah, leaders have been taken down. Leaders are resigning because of sexual scandals as well. And I think the wave is coming down. Right, women are coming to the fore and say, "Oh, in 18 whatever year, so and so, did this and that on me, and these are the scenarios. I have the evidence." Yeah. So, in terms of keeping the moral conscience of a society, Maddo, do you think you have the heavy burden of doing that, even when you're doing these things?
Yes. As mentioned, I mean, there's a point where politics becomes
too much. Yes.
Yeah, boring, whatever. So we thrive also on commenting on social issues, and there's plenty. We are not going to claim that we are champions of good morals.
Yes.
Yeah, but well, we try to be. Otherwise, you won't be in this business. You have you have to have the ability to tell right from wrong, and obviously put it in a humorous way, the way we do. That's how we communicate. But there's a whole long. In fact, Victor spoke very well when he mentioned about the other issues that we've been tackling.
Yes.
And even in forums beyond the newspaper pages that we see. There's also, I think, the gentleman called Major. I don't know if that was a title or it's his name. Who actually mentioned accidents.
Yes.
And I and my colleagues have been also, pushing for a change, a positive change in driving attitudes in this country.
Yes.
To save society from the bad elements within it. We don't stop there. There's alcohol abuse, drug abuse,
yes,
and plenty of other stuff.
All right, and maybe we can hear from Victor as well. Social norms You're down on the ground as well, social advocacy, you're the moral conscience of the society, so to speak.
Yes.
Is that a challenge to you? Yeah.
By virtue of the positions and the platform we have, we are able to, what I call, be influencers. You know, yes, you're a cartoonist. First, you influence through your drawings and just who you are. It's hypocritical for you to criticize, and you're doing the exact opposite. So yes, we use our platform to influence as much as possible, and just attend to issues that are not necessarily political, but need equal spotlight and equal something to talk about and people to attend to. So yes, it's by virtue of our platform, we try to make as much use of it as possible.
Yes.
To make a difference. Yes.
All right, and we have this particular editorial cartoon, Securing the Swearing In, that you had drawn. Of course, police brutality was big as well, and we can see Uhuru there. Tell us more about this particular cartoon and the red carpet as well. Do you feel sometimes you're actually forced, you know, to go with the norm, or maybe what is really trending? It's the swearing in, and there are 2 swearing ins that we're expecting from the different political divides.
Yes, when I did this cartoon, it was a very interesting atmosphere in the country at that time. I think ideally a swearing in should be a pretty fun affair. Everybody should be happy to swear in a new president, and it should be easygoing. But that day I was going to the newsroom and I was leaving, right from the, I think there was so much security. You know, we're asking ourselves, is this a swearing in, or is it like security operation? So it was quite a contradiction to what was supposed to happen. So this cartoon was just speaking about a lot about the activities of the police surrounding the swearing in and during the elections, and how they handled the protesters. To me, there are quite a lot of excesses. I think it could have been toned down a bit. Like you say, sometimes I guess we draw a lot of our inspiration, even just from what happens around us.
Yes.
And so this is, for those students of history, is the typical Roman formation called the tortoise, you know, where they used to gather around and protect themselves. So I just showed the president in the tortoise formation. It's really protected as...
oh, this was the tortoise formation?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, sometimes you cannot really decipher. Hey, do I call Victor and ask him, what do you really mean? I don't want to make a monkey of myself.
Yes. Well, that happens.
Yes.
It's the tortoise. It's a Roman military formation called the tortoise.
Okay.
That was very popular. And I think very effective. That's why the Romans were able to conquer a lot of lands that time. But yeah, the president was in this formation as we're being sworn in. Ideally, I think he should have been in an open ground with people dancing and being happy. Right. So that informed that cartoon.
And this will really show your witticism as well, because for you to really think about that particular formation, you must have been a bit exposed and read in terms of you know, knowing the military strategy and all, and how you can also capture that. So most of the people that don't really acknowledge our cartoonists are very witty guys. You know, they think, and it makes us think as well. Sometimes if we don't know the concept, then we cannot really decipher the cartoon itself. Yeah. What do you think? Any of you can answer that?
Yeah. Let me just add before they move on. It's very true, because for every cartoon, like Gammz pointed out, for every cartoon you draw, there's quite an amount of research to do. You can imagine the one on the Lunatic Express. Yes. You know, it has to be factual. It has to be historically true, and it has to make sense. So, like Gammz said, it's not just a cartoon, but it's a piece of artwork that you spend a lot of time working on and doing a lot of background research before you present it for publication.
All right, let's also look at Maddo as well. We are not only navel-gazing what is really happening in the country, but also we open our eyes around the world, what is happening around the world. And this is what you captured as well. The president's mien, right? And we have Donald Trump, who's instead of being with the wife, is busy. We know he normally tweets at weird hours of the night, those wee hours, and so you have that Obama, and you don't get disturbed sometimes when you want to expose the super should I say the Superman? Yeah, or the president that is holding the superpower, you know, of the world, exposing him like this, you know, strip to the buff. Would you do that in this country?
I mean, first of all, when I did that, I felt safe enough because he cannot deport me. I ain't there. Anyway, I do have some discomfort about drawing, depicting leaders either at home or abroad in that state of nakedness and so on. But you see, again, if you open yourself to ridicule, then just too bad for you. If he was a little more, what do you call it? If he was a little more gentlemanly in how he communicates, how he relates to the American people and the world, then it will be a little different. Oh yes, I mean, otherwise there's quite some discomfort there. But you see, going by his tweets, the man doesn't have very good language either, so he ends up like that in the eyes of a cartoonist.
All right, then we have the Tanzanian doctors in Nairobi. Ndugu, nieleze maumivu yanayokukumba yako wapi mwilini? Yeah. Mimi anasema mgonjwa marikura mutura baya. Halafu sasa tubo manauma na pia manahara.
Our cartoons are basically largely in the English language, but there are times that we want to play around with our own local languages. Yes. This I think it was a time that Kenyan medics were on strike, and there was a suggestion that the government was going to import doctors from Tanzania. Yes. Which obviously uses English as an official language also, but Swahili is also used there even more than us in official forums. So that was a play on you know, that Tanzanian, that suave Tanzanian with beautiful Swahili lines and so on, vis-a-vis a local Kenyan with his Swahili and with a lot of what do you call it? With a lot of well, the accent is not really a problem because we all have that. So the idea was actually, I mean, about the miscommunication that may have occurred at the time.
Right. Yeah. Okay. As now we're giving our closing statements, what do you think the government should do for you in terms of, I don't know, the way you've organized yourself as cartoonists in this country? What sort of, I know there's an umbrella that you've created and being headed by by CAM. Yes. What is the name of that organization and how does it operate in terms of taking the welfare of the cartoonists, also advocating for the issues that are affecting cartoonists in this country? Let's hear from Gammz. Yes. Briefly, let's hear from Gammz, right. Then we come to you.
Yeah, okay, right.
Okay, our organization is Cartoony. It's called Cartoony, an organization of East African cartoonists.
Yes.
We actually still in the teething problems. We are still young, but basically it's just coming together and trying to cater for our welfare and to see how we can tap more talents, especially the upcoming. As you can see, we have a limitation of space in the newspapers. We have only 4 dailies.
Yes.
So, and we are so many cartoonists. So we are just trying to think of other avenues where we can expose the upcoming cartoonists.
All right. Munene?
Yeah, what I would say, it's time the society started viewing cartooning and maybe any other form of art. Like me, I normally do paintings on canvas. I even hold my own exhibitions plus other paintings, apart from now cartooning. So it's time the society stopped maybe saying, maybe like doing art as a hobby. This is not a hobby, this is business like any other. There was a time some children visited our office. One asked me whether the whole day I'm just drawing. So for that kind of child, it's not something that is serious. So I was wondering, what does a pilot do the whole day? What does a policeman do? So the kind of thinking the society have that maybe drawing or painting or doing cartoons is a hobby. This is business, like any other job. You can be employed, yeah. There are many people who are giving employment, maybe in the animation, newspaper, books, illustrations. Yeah. So it's time the society opened up and maybe tap talents maybe from schools, encourage the kids in school who are drawing. We can't all be doctors and pilots and stuff. Yeah.
All right.
Like for me, I was very good in art, and now you've pursued what you love.
Yeah. All right. And they say, of course, follow your passion and money will definitely follow. So it's not about the money at the end of the day that we want to mainstream. It's the passion that you have.
Yeah. The
Victor,
passion to do it.
The passion to do it.
Exactly.
You've been impassioned about art as well, Victor. And of course, you followed the passion and the money is following you.
Well, I don't know about the money. Perhaps Maddo could be the most moneyed here. But by virtue of experience, he's accumulated a lot. But I would like to speak to one very important aspect of our work is the fact that a lot of young cartoonists want to come on board and join the profession. One, I would like to tell them that this is a serious profession. It's a real job. We clock in the hours, we put in the time, and at the end of the day, it pays. But the other thing that I would like to tell them is for a long time when we were starting out, our only platform was when a newspaper would publish you, and it was very difficult to break through. But nowadays, there's what we call the online space. So I'd like to encourage them to really explore the online space. It's a bigger canvas, and people will always notice good work. So instead of trying to fit into mainstream media, because the slots are very minimal, they're few. Try publishing online. Let people see what you can do. Then, like they say, you can never put a good man down. If your work is good, somebody will pick you up and definitely showcase you. So the word of encouragement to the budding artists out there, yes, show us what you can do. And a final challenge to, maybe we need to have more female cartoonists. We have one, Celeste.
Yeah, we hosted Celeste, and then she's been off the radar as well.
Yes.
Celeste used to be the People Daily.
Yes. But we need more female cartoonists. Maybe they will bring something different on the table.
Thank you.
But all in all, it's a good profession.
Thank you. Let's hear from Maddo finally.
Well, the association that has been mentioned was actually, is designed to regularize our industry, our small industry.
Yes.
First of all, we had to earn respect. I mean, you've heard that in the past we are looked at as just that cartoonist and so on, and as Munene is saying, during the whole day and so on. So we had to go past that hurdle, which we have done. Now we are, it's been established that we are serious people. Maybe the president is watching. Anyway, okay, right. This is serious business. In fact, Celestine, whom you mentioned,
yes,
along with Gammz here and Victor, actually, I will probably say that they're my products. Oh yes, I mean, Gammz walked into my studio about 20 years ago, straight from college.
Yes.
And I got him into this business. And there have been many others. At a personal level, I've done several others here and there. So what we do, we open up highways and gates and wherever for the young cartoonists also there. So many of them we have not placed within the print media. We have placed them elsewhere. And indeed, also, some years ago, we did have our own publication that brought together so many of them.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.